Good day. My name is Michael Bendner with the Center for Fiscal Equity. This is a video version of my written testimony to the Labor, HHS, and Education Appropriation Subcommittee for FY23. The first part is also where I deal with my food stamp experience, is also in the agricultural appropriation. So I'm simply providing a link to it and to the video, and you can read it there, so you don't have to hear me twice on the same thing, although you will have to hear me twice when I talk about the CBO report. On the morning of the hearing that took place and also the CBO forecast, I had an interview on an application for medical assistance. My application was submitted. I will likely be approved. In prior years, I had not applied because my income was too high. The federal poverty line has caught up with me. Because my benefits are in line with most Social Security beneficiaries, I must believe that it has caught up to them too. The reality is that Medicare for All has caught up to the vast majority of retirees and the disabled, as M4A is essentially expanding who can receive benefits as a dual eligible. Because that's what I now am, most likely. Say governments are under financial pressure as a result of the pandemic, especially in the area of healthcare costs, most especially for seniors in nursing homes who are dual eligibles. The heart of President Reagan's new federalism proposal was the transfer of state medical expenses to the federal government, largely to fund baby boomers who would become dual eligibles with time. Time is up, or it will be shortly. Welfare has been reformed, allowing state and federal governments to save money, which is part of the new federalism bargain that was not accepted when Reagan proposed it, but it was accepted when Bill Clinton signed it. The irony is that federal money was reduced without the second part of the trade-off, which was Medicaid. Finish the process and create Medicare Part E for low-income, disabled, and retirees. This will put investigation of nursing home conditions into the federal sector. States have done a poor job in enforcement of health and safety standards. It is time to make this a national responsibility. The third item was human capital. The president's Build Back Better proposals included human capital to a large extent. The needs are urgent for not only young people going to college, but everyone who is ill-served, from English as a second language and up through an associate's degree. We recommend that funding include freshman and sophomore year at four-year institutions as well. Add this proposal back to the proposed legislation. The Senate majority needs to stop negotiating with itself, even if that means passing the FY23 appropriation in the next Congress. Technical training should be covered as well at both public and accredited private schools, including religious schools. In Espinoza versus Montana, prohibitions on funding private schools, also known as Blaine amendments, were found to be unconstitutional. New and existing funding should reflect that fact. The main problem with current training regimes is that potential students have opportunity costs that are not covered by training. TANF is simply too narrowly tailored and directs too many people to low-wage work, especially in the dirtiest jobs in the medical field. The woke among us do not have to look hard for the intrinsic sexism and racism in this scheme. I'll be polite and not say what it looks like. Payments for tuition, stipends, and family support would be funded by employer-paid subtraction value-added taxes. Ideally, both state and federal subtraction VAT will be enacted. A federal VAT would be levied to assure that a minimum amount of child tax credit funding is available should states underfund their programs, which some will. The American Recovery Plan Act required payment of the child tax credit in advance of the annual tax filing. This is appropriate and will change the culture of such credits, which should be for continuing support, not an annual bonus. The IRS managed payments. I submit over the long term that it would be more acceptable to distribute them either through other government subsidies, such as unemployment insurance, disability insurance, or training stipend, discussed above, or through wages. In the latter case, until a subtraction value-added tax is in place, the credit would be paid in advance by employers and then deducted from their quarterly tax payment. In other words, we could do it now. Just change that W3 form, whatever it's called, that they pay, or the IRS form, and you've taken care of it. Unemployment number 4. Unemployment insurance must be less punitive, particularly where younger workers are concerned. In lower wage jobs, the preference is to find potential supervisors whose compensation is usually subpar as well, and keep a file of infractions to justify firing workers who do not work out into the supervisory ranks. A punitive work environment like that does not exactly make any kind of work attractive. In certain circumstances, unemployment compensation should be available on a no-fault basis. Better still, employees should be allowed to voluntarily leave firms with a history of quickly dismissing employees without any penalty to them. There should be no expendable jobs or expendable workers. The current punitive taxes on employers would not be appropriate if such no fault was passed. So a more general levy, such as, again, the employer-paid subtraction VAT, and if employers continue to pay former workers and help them find jobs or pay training, instead of having to pay UI, they would just pay the employees and help them find training to get them off the books. Without such an assistance, goods and services tax is appropriate. Likely levied, at least partially, at the federal level, with states providing most of the funding still. Unemployment insurance would include CTC payments and automatic subsidized health insurance coverage with eligibility of the public option under the Affordable Care Act framework. And the fifth part, in developing the public option, needs to be funded in this appropriation. Particularly, it should explore the impacts of coverage and costs of automatically enrolling individuals who are denied coverage under the pre-existing condition rules. Such rules must be revoked as the price of passing the final bill. In other words, if you can't get insurance, then you get the public option automatically. It'll be subsidized, and as time passes, more people will be in the public option until there's only the public option left. So, because insurance companies are capitalists and therefore greedy. And that is it. You know what to do with the little thing in the bottom about the subscribe and commenting. If you think I'm a communist, comment about that. If you think I'm a libertarian fascist, make that comment too. The more the merrier. Debate on where I'm coming from with this. And my contact information is also in the description. Again, thank you very much for your viewing time.